Kentucky is Senator Rand Paul. Senator, thank you for joining us. By the way, hat tip for being the first 2016 potential candidate to weigh in on the Bundy Ranch. Sir, when you hear Senator Harry Reid call the Bundy family domestic terrorists, now, whether you believe, whatever side you are on this whatsoever, is there any reason to call Americans domestic terrorists?
No, I think what we should all be calling for is for calmer heads to prevail. I don't want to see violence on either side. There is a legitimate constitutional question here about whether the state should be in charge of endangered species or whether the federal government should be. But I don't think calling people's names is going to calm this down. I think it's liable to stir it up. So I think all parties, including Senator Reid, should calm the rhetoric a little bit. Let's try to have a peaceful resolution to this. That being said, the Endangered Species Act has been abused across America. We have a lake in Kentucky they won't put any more water in because they're worried about a fish. And I keep asking them, don't fish like water? We have a bat in our state where you have to pay the federal government to use your own land to cut down your timber. You have to pay them $2,000 an acre if they find a bat on your land. So it really is government overreach, government gone amok with this Endangered Species Act. And here's the real question we have to ask the federal government. They say that Mr. Bundy owes some back fees. If he pays his fees, will they let him graze his 900 head of cattle? My understanding, the way I think I understand this, is no matter what he pays, they're not going to let him graze his cattle anymore. So really, we have to balance the needs of a turtle and the needs of man and the needs and the rights of property owners. And this is a real, I think, intellectual and constitutional and legal debate, but it shouldn't be about violence of arms. And I hope that the government will not be there in full arms and provoke a showdown and something terrible will happen. I hope that doesn't happen.
Well, isn't that what the stage is being set for? And maybe because of what Senator Reid had just said, he not only called the Bundy family domestic terrorists, the supporters, the people who believe in whatever's going on out there, if they're on the Bundy side, they're domestic terrorists as well. Doesn't that sound like he's setting it up for maybe some more military action, maybe bringing some feds in there, maybe having this escalate?
Yeah, I don't know what will happen. All I know is, from my perspective, I have a legal solution to this. I have a bill that I introduced last year, and I believe the senator from Nevada, Senator Heller, is a sponsor of this bill. This would give states more control over the land and more control over the Endangered Species Act. I would like to see the governor of Nevada and the state legislature of Nevada be in charge of trying to help preserve species, but also aware of cattlemen and ranchers' needs. Nobody in Washington really knows anything about ranching or grazing of cattle or the long history that's gone on with this. We need to take this out of the hands of Washington, but let's have a rational debate without violence, without incitement on either side. But I have a bill that would actually fix this problem. It's been in the hopper for over a year. We should ask Senator Reid if he'll let me have a vote on it.
Senator, also, you know, I know we wanted to get on a couple other topics, but let's just stay on this for another minute or so. You know, a couple years ago, there was a Delta smelt. Remember that little fish where they diverted the water from Northern California around, you know, where that great growing area in Central California, and really kind of jacked up prices for everything from bread to produce and whatnot, all over this Delta smelt, this 2-inch fish. Is government overreach just getting out of control?
Absolutely. I can give you 10 different examples just in Kentucky. We tried to build a sewage plant in a small town in Kentucky because when it rained, the sewage was flowing into the river, and nobody wants that. So we tried to build a bigger sewage plant, and they said we couldn't because it might affect the mussel population. So we had to spend months and months and hundreds of thousands of dollars to count the mussels, and then they finally let us do it. But that's what's happening. The EPA, Fish and Wildlife, the Corps, they get involved every time you try to do something. And think about it. Everybody wants a sewage plant to be adequate so raw sewage doesn't go in the river. We all agree to that. But the EPA and all this crazy environmentalism has us counting mussels. And in the end, we do build the sewage plant, but after wasting time, money on something that I don't believe actually is really endangered.
All right, Senator, before we have to go, President Obama this afternoon took another victory lap on the Obamacare numbers. He said there are somewhere around 8 million people who've enrolled in Obamacare. He was very confident in that number. Are you?
Well, about 5 million people got their policies canceled, so quite a few people he's bragging about, he just made them get rid of their cheaper insurance, and then he made them buy more expensive insurance. The other big question that we're going to have in the next few months is, let's say you have subsidized health insurance. That's great, but what if your deductible is $6,000? If you can't afford insurance, do you think you're really going to be able to pay for a $6,000 deductible? This system is riddled with errors and destined for failure ultimately.
And at one point, I believe President Obama mentioned about 35% of the people who were enrolling were the young people, the invincibles that they were going for. And I also think the White House corrected him afterwards to somewhere around 24 or 25%. Which number are you going with?
I don't know the exact number, but what we'll find out is in the fall. If you don't have a lot of young, healthy people signed up, the premiums are going to go through the roof. My prediction is come fall, you know, the president's tried to delay that till after the election, but I think come fall, we're going to find out that all of our insurance rates are going to go up dramatically, and we can thank President Obama for that. Not only can't you keep your doctor that you wanted, you won't be able to keep your cheaper health insurance. You're going to have much more expensive health insurance than anybody's ever had in the past.
All right, Senator, thank you very much for spending some time on Hannity tonight. Thank you.
Thanks, Eric.
All right, coming up just in time for Easter, Clemson's football.
Hear the wind stop blowing, see the holes in the gun.